Hello everyone, good afternoon. I'm one of the discussants in this afternoon for our subject PEC-PCK3 Assessment and Learning 2. My topic is all about the specific suggestion for writing assessment task and test task for multiple choice and essay type of test. I only discuss this specific suggestion for these two type of test because Miss Pasamba and Miss Abiles discussed the other. My learning objective is that at the end of these discussions, my classmates are able to first, explain the multiple choice and essay type of test. Second, discuss the specific suggestion for writing assessment task and test task for multiple choice and essay type of test. And third, identify the importance of knowing a specific suggestion for writing assessment task and test task and find values one can apply in a real life as a future educator. So before we go through in our lesson proper, I have here a jumbled words with its meaning, and as this is a recorded video presentation, I hope you will write your answer in the comment box sections if you have idea of what the jumbled word is. So this is a two-word type of test, contains a questions, problem, or unfinished sentence followed by several responses. I hope you have idea of what it is, and let's reveal the answer. And tada! Yes, that is a multiple choice. Because multiple choice is a type of test contains of questions, problem, or an unfinished sentence followed by several responses. So, without further ado, let's get started with the specific suggestion for writing assessment task and test task for multiple choice. The first one is that A. A system of the item should be meaningful by itself or should be present in definite problem. This means kung bubuo tayo ng isang test question, kailangan magpakita ito ng isang tiyak na problema na makabuluhan. So, I have here two examples of what I'm trying to figure out. Let's compare my two versions of test item. The first one is that South America blank. A is a flat arid country. B imports coffee from United States. C a larger population than United States. And D was settled mainly by colonists from the Spain. And my second version of example is that most of the South Korea was settled by colonists from A England, B France, C Holland, and D Spain. So in this, we have already shown the difference of the two. In the first one, it shows an heterogeneity because of the stem or the questions is lack of structure, while the second one version is clearly formulated problem and the choices is obviously homogeneous. And the answer for this one is letter D. Let's move for the second or the B suggestion. The item stem should include as much of the item as possible and should be free of irrelevant material. So, in this suggestion, mas maganda na tanggalin na natin yung mga hindi mahalagang statement para na rin madaling mabasa ng mga estudyante, hindi na siya time consuming. Pero dapat natin tandaan na dito, or dapat natin malaman na dito sa rule na to is meron siyang exception, especially when we are testing problem solving ability. Relevant materials might be included in the stem or of an item to determine whether students can identify and select the material that is relevant to the problem solutions. Similarly, repeating common words in alternatives is sometimes necessary for grammatical consistency or greater clarity. And then next, C. Use a negative statement stem only when significant learning outcomes required it. Yan. Karamihan sa mga test questions natin ay dapat nating sabihin na positive term kasi iniiwasan nito yung posibilidad na hindi mapansin agad ng mga mag-aaral natin yung salitang no or and except. Hindi naman natin gugustuhin na mali yung maisagot ng mga estudyante natin sa mga tanong. My suggestion for this one is i-capitalize na lang natin yung word na no or except para mas madaling mabasa ng mga estudyante natin kung gagamit tayo ng negative statement sa ating test question. Next, letter D. All of the alternatives should be grammatically consistent with the stem of an item. Yes. In this rule, it's not presented merely to use the proper grammar usage, But its main function is to present relevant clues. Yan, yung paggamit natin nung pagbuo natin nung sentence pa lang dun sa tanong, maaaring magkaroon na ng clue kung ano yung magiging sagot. Basta aralin lang nung estudyante natin or basahing mabuti yung tanong, makukuha niya na yung sagot. Let's move for our letter E. An item should contain only one correct or clearly best answer. In this rule, it teaches us or guiding us to be more careful in creating question and also providing a choices. I have an example for you. First is that, which of the following is the best source of heat for home use? A, coal, B, electricity, C, gas, D, oil. As you noticed, because of the structure or composition of my questions, all of the choices can be possible. But let's compare in my second example. This is the question. In the Midwestern part of United States, which of the following is the most economical source of heat for home use? A, coal, B, electricity, C, gas, D, oil. So, we can notice that I provided the basis or source of my question, and that is the Midwestern part of the United States. So, the students know kung saan sila magbe-base nung isasagot, hindi yung basta na lang manghuhula. Kasi dun sa first example ko, pwedeng sariling sagot nila. That's it for this rule. Let's move to another one. F. Item used to measure understanding should contain some novelty but beware of too much. Yan. In this rule, we have to be careful of using some novelty. Some of the construction of our multiple choice item that measured understanding requires a careful choice of situation and skillful phrasing. Kasi may we use some situation that may new to our student but not too far. Dun sa ginamit natin sa mismo example during our class para medyo alam pa nila kung paano sagutin yung situation. Kasi in terms of problem-solving situations, it is may lead for our student to lack of necessary information due to the use of too much novelty. So, kung magbibigay man tayo ng problem-solving situation sa ating test, we more not go too far with that. That's it. So, let's move to the other. And G, all distractors should be plausible. Yan. In this part, we all know that the purpose of distractor is to distract the uninformed from the correct answer, and one of factor contributing to the plausible of distractor is the homogeneity. In this part, it is obvious that our distractor must be familiar to our students before they can serve as the reasonable alternative. And then we have to be careful of using it. We have to analyze it or himayin talaga natin kung ano yung gagamitin nating distractors. Then H, the verbal association between the stem and the correct answer should be avoided. Yes, in this rule, frequently a word in the correct answer will provide a relevant clue because it looks or sounds like a word in the problem of the item. And in that part, we must be careful with that for our student to analyze the question carefully. So, hindi sila babahala sa isasagot nila kasi yung binigay nating tanong is maayos at yung mga pamilian. Next, the relative length of the alternatives should not provide a clue to the answer. Yes, this one. We already encountered it. In this rule, we have to exert some special effort so that our choices are approximately equal in terms of length. Aminin na nating naging asa rin tayo sa pinakamahabang statement sa choices, ayun na yung sagot. So, my advice for this rule is that if the correct answer can't be shortened, the distractor or can be expanded to the desired outcome so that our effort in creating that test questions is hindi mababaliwala. Yan, iwasan na lang natin yung pagbibigay ng mahabang sagot dun sa pamilya, yung tamang sagot. J, the alternative should be arranged logically, and K, the correct answer should appear in each of the alternative position is approximately equal number of times but in random order. Yan, pinagsunod ko silang basahin kasi they are related to each other. We as a future educator, we must position the correct answer with random placement. We must avoid to put it in the first and last position kasi in that part, parang sinasayang lang din natin nga yung effort natin sa pagbuo ng questions. Kung yung tamang sagot naman pala is bibigyan natin ng clue. For example, 1 to 10 is puro A, 11 to 20 is puro B, or 1A, 2B, 3C, 4A, then so on so forth. Parang nawala yung pagkuha natin ng totoong learning outcomes ng bata, kung may natutunan ba siya or wala. So, we must avoid that for our student to study hard for our subject. Next, L. The use of special alternatives such as none of the above and all of the above should be done sparingly. Yan. Based on what I've read, these two alternatives are both types of responses prevent the item for functioning as intended. Especially if we assess the learning skill of the student, this can't be approximately for that. So, limitahan natin yung paggamit ng special alternatives na to kasi hindi rin siya minsan nakakatulong. Pwede natin gamitin pero huwag naman palagi. Siguro gamitin natin sa isang test questions natin is 2 to 5 times lang, hindi yung sobrang baka naman 1 to 20 is puro ganitong may ganitong pamilian. Iwasan na lang natin. And then M, always have a stem and alternative on the same page. Yes, in this rule, it is simply say that we have to be careful in checking the test questions we made. It's hassle for our students that he or she may check the question on the first page and the choices on the second page. I know some of you are encountered this situation, so masyado siyang hassle especially kung problem solving yung ating questions na ni-provide. Double check natin yung paggagawa natin sa test question. Siguraduhin natin na yung tanong at sagot ay magkasama sa iisang page. Then N, I think this is the last for my multiple choice. Do not use multiple choice items when other items are more appropriate. Yeah, there are superior qualities in using multiple choice, but hindi natin pwedeng ipilit ang hindi naman dapat. For example, there are only 2 possible responses, like fact or opinion. The true or false is more appropriate. And when there is enough homogeneous item but few plausible destructor for each, we may use matching type of test. We as a future educator, we must think and see things kung saan ba dapat or kung saan mas aakma. Ang pangit lang tingnan kasi minsan na obvious na tapos ipagpipilitan pa natin. We must avoid that. Okay? Let's move to another jumbled words. Yan. This is another 2 English word. I hope you can guess it. The meaning of it is this is a type of test represent a problem or question and the student is composed a response in paragraph form using his or her own words or ideas. I hope someone is typing down or jotting down their answer for this one. And we have to reveal the answer and tada! Yes, that is an essay type of test. Because this type of test is to present a problem or question and the student is composed a response in paragraph form using his or her own words and ideas. And there are 2 forms of essay test. I know some or other discussant or my classmate discuss it, but I want to enlighten more in this part. We have the first one, brief and restricted essay test. This form of essay test requires a limited amount of writing or requires that a given problem be solved in a few sentences. For example, why did early Filipino revolts fail? Cite and explain 2 reasons. So we can notice that the answer could be in a 2 reasons only. And the other one is that extended essay test. Yan. This form of essay test requires a student to present his or her answer in several paragraphs or pages of writing. It gives students more freedom to express ideas and opinions and use synthesizing skills to change knowledge into a creative idea. My example for this one is that explain your position in the issue of climate change in the Philippines. In that part, I can give any limitations of how she may or he may answer my essay questions. So let's proceed to the specific suggestion for writing assessment task and test task for essay type of test. The first one is A. Restrict the use of essay question for those learning outcomes that cannot be satisfactorily measured by objectives items. Yes, as I said earlier, dun sa aking last tip para sa multiple choice, huwag nating ipilit or iakma yung isang bagay kung hindi naman talaga masasatisfy nito yung kailangan nating i-measure. So, hindi palaging kung ano yung gusto natin, ayun yung ipipilit natin. The next one is B. Construct questions that will call for the skills specified in the learning standards. Yes, in this, we must construct questions that will help for a student to apply their knowledge or skill in particular problem or situations. Next, the letter C. Phrase the question so that the student's task is clearly identified. Yan. In this rule, we must clarify to our students what thing or we are expected for them to answer. Or better I say, dun pa lang sa tanong, alam na ng student kung paano siya magsisimula at kung paano niya ita-take or paano yung sunod-sunod na gagawin niya sa pagsasagot. For example, the question is that state 3 hypotheses that might explain why birds migrate south in fall, indicate the most probable one, and give reasons for your selections. So in my given example, we can notice that I already give or it's clearly indicated what students should do. D. Avoid the use of optional questions. Yes, it's a big yes for me because in these rules, giving different or allowing them to choose essay questions is not appropriate or we have to avoid because if students answer different question, it is obvious that they are taking different tests. So approximately, they are demonstrating different learning outcomes. Providing or allowing them choose essay question can be used maybe through assignment than this essay test. Next, indicate an approximate time limit for each questions. Yan, hindi natin pwedeng hayaan na lang sila kung hanggang kailan magsagot. We must give them time limit kung hanggang kailan lang pwedeng sagutan yung essay for them para na rin maiwasan natin yung magkwentuhan sila or itakal pa sa iba yung isasagot nila. At saka iba pa rin minsan yung sagot ng isang estudyanteng nabigyan mo ng time pressure. And for my last, prepare an outline of the expected answer in advance of scoring rubric. In this part, mahalaga na yung at least we have basis on how we evaluate or grade their answer. We have 2 types of scoring rubric, the analytic and the holistic. We can use it as a future educator because in that part, pwede nilang makriticize yung sarili nilang gawa kung saan nagkulang if hindi nila ma-achieve yung perfect score. So, makikriticize na, dito ako nagkulang, dito medyo sumablay. So, ayun. I suggest that we as a future educator, we have to provide an outline or rubric for us to be easily give them grade at para hindi naman kasi pwedeng tumingin tayo sa langit at manghula kung ano yung pwedeng mai-grade natin sa kanila. I think that's for me. So, I provided here my references where I find my topic. If you have time, you can check it for more informations or readings. Also, the discussant, this is me, Esperanza Jessica A. from BSED English 3B. If you have any question or clarification, you can find me at my Facebook account and my Gmail account provided here. That's all for me, everyone. I hope you learned something because these things I discussed is very important for us as a future educator to apply it and to use some tips I gained and I share with you in this afternoon for us to be effective and efficient teacher when making this type of test. So that's all for me. Thank you and God bless everyone. I hope everyone is keeping safe, stay hydrated, and bye-bye!